Hello, everybody. My name is Aljaz. I'm coming from Slovenia, European country on southeastern side of Alps. Very beautiful. But I didn't make this video to speak about beauty of Slovenia, which you should certainly see, but about geopolitics and about activities related to it in recent days. Especially, I would like to remember a dear journalist and blogger, Gonzalo Lira, who recently passed in prison in dungeons of Kiev regime in Ukraine. If you don't know who Gonzalo Lira is, he was an American citizen. I think he was also American. He has double citizenship, Chilean American. Yeah, blogger and journalist. And why was he imprisoned? Why? Why did Kiev regime put Gonzalo Lira into jail? Because he did something wrong? No. Because he was reporting informations, reporting news, truth that Kiev regime did not like. We call these days Ukraine democratic. Is it? And we say Russia is tyranny. Ukraine is democracy, but Russia is tyranny. Is it? Why did they put him in jail then? Where he died, consequently. He said in August, if I go to Ukrainian jail, I will die there. Why? Because he was speaking inconvenient truth, and this is the reaction. And what did United States and European Union did to release him? What did they do? Nothing. Did American embassy, like European Union Americans, we supported Ukraine with billions, tens of billions of dollars worth of money and equipment and everything. But still, we could not intervene for his sake. United States did not intervene to free its own citizen. Why? Because he was speaking too openly about things that are happening in Ukraine? Or it's simply dispensable because his narrative did not fit into a globalist, collective West globalist narrative. So is that a reason to imprison and torture a person? He was imprisoned, he was tortured, and consequently he untimely died beginning of January this year. He paid a great price for exposing unpleasant facts and they killed him. And nobody did anything. They killed him because his health condition was not good. He had many health issues. He said, if I go to Ukrainian jail, I will die there. And this is what happened. He was exposing lies. Lies of Kiev regime, lies of Western mainstream media narrative, political narrative, globalist political narrative. He was exposing lies, and he paid it with his life. This is very, very worrying for me personally, because if there is no discussion, if there is just narrative, then we are in totalitarian state. If Western media are completely under the thumb, you could say, of so-called elites, people who are governing collective West, United States of America, Canada, European Union, they are just the mouthpiece of this regime. Then we cannot speak about freedom of speech, freedom of media, long anymore. Long time ago, this ended. Actually, it was just not so obvious. For me, it was first obvious when there was this COVID narrative. This COVID totalitarianism or fascism, you could say. When they were pushing people to vaccination, pushing the measures, pushing everything, and blaming everybody who did not agree with the narrative was anti-vaxxer, against science, against common sense. They wanted to make us stupid because we did not believe bad science, because we searched, we did the homework, we searched through internet and came to some independent doctors, scientists who had other point of view. Same thing now. Where did we came to? How could we come to this mess, to this nonsense? Europe's supposed to be the garden of the world. Joseph Borrell said once, "We are the garden of the world." No, we are becoming a desert more and more of media silence, media totalitarity, political totalitarity. If you don't feed the narrative, gone, 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 gone. They prosecute you, they harm you, or ignore you, or whatever. And they're pushing this narrative of their political elites. Lies, actually. It's fantasies, what they are talking about. And this is very, very worrying. Don't think that ignorance will save you. Like an, how is called this, ostrich, yeah? Let's say there in Africa you have ostrich and there is a lion coming. And then ostrich see a lion. Oh, lion is coming. Oh, big, big. This is very dangerous. I have to hide. And then he puts his head in the earth and he cannot see lion anymore. And he thinks, I'm safe. I don't see a lion anymore. So there is no lion, he thinks foolishly. But of course there is a lion. Lion is still coming. So karma is coming. You know, as you sow, so you reap. There is the laws of God, laws of karma. And if we lie, karma will come around and we will have to pay for the consequences. We'll have to pay the consequences. We will reap the consequences of our lies. Or they will have to pay. Of course, we, in sense that I'm also living in European Union and I'm fed this media narrative from our media, from our government, which is non different than any other so-called collective West country. It's just copy paste what is in CNN, BBC, our medias is just copy paste and translate in Slovenian language. This is our media. There are very rare independent journalists that they will say some truth, something which is not uh, part of official narrative. They look from the other side of the coin. But this totalitarianism, this narrow-mindedness, short-sightedness, very, very dangerous. You think it's innocent to lie. It's not so innocent to lie. All this war in Ukraine could be easily stopped. It would not even happen if there would be some reason from Kiev authorities. There would be some reason to understand the other side view also. The Russians didn't demand much. They say neutrality, no NATO in Ukraine, and respect and rightful treatment of Russian minority in Ukraine, which was actually prosecuted culturally and physically prosecuted. You know, then our media served us that this war, this Russian invasion was unprovoked. Oh, really? Was it unprovoked? Another dangerous lie. It's not true. Ukrainian government forces were bombing Donbass since 2014. So what about those lives of innocent children, civilians in Donbass who were suffering for 8 years from bombardment? Actually, now it's 10 years because it's since 2014 and the bombing still did not stop. Meanwhile, while we are talking, things are not black and white. But what I'm saying is we should search for the truth, and if we want peace on this world, then you have to understand the other side also. It's not just my side, my right. I know everything, you don't know nothing. I'm better than you. I worth more than you. My opinion is more important than your opinion. I'm first class, you're second class. Come on, you cannot get peace like this. This just creates more conflict. So once I said to one person, he was like, "Yeah, you are defending Russia's aggression. You're defending." No, I'm not. I'm pro peace. If I am on any side, I am on a side of peace, peace and diplomacy. Why? Because I have no hard feelings, no bad feelings, neither to Ukraine nor to Russia. And if there is a conflict, why is it there is a conflict? Because the Russians are so unreasonable. No, they are not. They said, no NATO in Ukraine, we don't want rockets 4 minutes from Moscow. And then they said, would America allow Russian or Chinese rockets on the Mexico border or Canadian border or Cuba? We know how it was in 60s when there was Kennedy and Khrushchev was a president of Soviet Union, Kennedy was a president of United States. Almost the nuclear war happened. Then they talked and they settled. And the Russians said, okay, we will remove our missiles away from Cuba. Because Americans would not allow that they are so close, that these rockets, nuclear rockets, are so close to American land. They would not tolerate it. And so the Russia is not tolerating also. Is that so difficult to understand? And then there were those Minsk I, Minsk II agreement. And then the West, Angela Merkel, actually confessed. She said, actually, this was not meant to truly be obliged. But it was just necessary agreement to bide some time to Ukraine. How cynical. How could they do this? How can you do something like that? You're speaking with a superpower with nuclear weapons and you are dealing with them like this? Cheating them, lying to them. How can they talk to you then? Then there were like agreements in Istanbul Everything was signed. Okay, Ukraine will have neutral status. The terms were very liberal, we could say, were very good for Ukraine. It would be far better bargain for them. Hundreds of thousands of people wouldn't die. But Boris Johnson flew to Kiev, convinced Zelensky, no, 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 don't make peace with Russia. We will, we will support you. We will give you weapons. Ukraine will defeat Russia. And they brainwashed them, and they brainwashed people in Ukraine with Nazi ideology. But this didn't happen since 2024. This Nazi ideology is going there for decades. Banderism, following Stefan Bandera and the other Nazis, Ukrainian Nazis who were killing hundreds of thousands of Poles, Jews, and Russians. They're following this Nazi ideology. Very, very sad. And Gonzalo Lira was exposing these things, and they imprisoned him for that. No other criminal charges, just his point of view was seemed to be criminal. So is it a criminal thing to have your point of view, to have a critical point of view? If this is true, then we are not, then we are in totalitarianism. We are like in Hitler Germany or Stalin Russia. You know, we are ignoring the fact that in Ukraine the conflict started in 2014, not in 2022, 24th of February. We are ignoring the facts that people, Russian minorities, was bombed for since then. It is still bombed today. But this is somehow less important. And this is racistic. Are some people more important than others? Is Russian minority in Ukraine less important than Ukrainians? Are they worth less? Like today, are Palestinians worth less than Israelis? How can we tolerate what is Israeli regime doing for decades in Palestine? How they treated Palestine? Gaza is considered to be the biggest open air concentration camp on the planet. 2.5 million people live there. Now they block them the medicine supply, food, water, electricity, gas, everything. They leveled whole quarters of densely populated civilian regions in Gaza. They bombed them and killed over 20,000 civilians. And who who said something against Israeli government? Who said to Israel, stop it? Did anyone in European Union said? Maybe there were some voices, but did United States or European Union went and said Israel clearly, stop it. We will not support you for this. This is genocide. Stop it immediately. No, they allow it. So these are not just, I mean, this is not just hypocrisy. This is not just lying. This is blatant racism. We are making, we are distinguishing between people. Some people are worth more, some people are worth less. Some people can be genocided. Some people can be genocided, like Palestinians, they can genocide them. They can be prosecuted. Like in Ukraine, Russian minority could be prosecuted. Nobody said anything. So these are double standards. And once enough is enough, things happen. And if we will not stop this nonsense and to start looking the facts as they are and understand the other side, what the other side is thinking, then these conflicts will just grow, 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 grow. Unfortunately, if there is no common sense, if there is no dialogue, if there is no honesty, sincerity, and respect, then what can the other side do? Make war to us only. It's like, old couple decided to get divorced. Or let's say a rich couple that was together for 20 years cannot be together anymore and they decided to divorce. Okay, they can go and have a cup of coffee together and discuss things over the coffee in half hour, friend in a friendly way. They can resolve the whole thing. How we will, share things, how we will split them now, how we will do everything properly. They could do it. They could sit down, have a nice discussion, and do it nicely. Or if there is no trust, if there is no capacity to understand the position of other, they could go to court and they can spend tens of $1,000s, euros, whatever, on court to reach the same agreement that they could reach over the table, uh, over the coffee, you know, to have a cup of coffee together and make agreement. Or they can spend 2 3 years on court on the end to reach some agreement because their agreement will have to be reached. In Gaza, in Ukraine, anywhere. On the end, there's always a political solution. Because this war in Ukraine or in Gaza, the roots of this war are the political causes. And on this level, they will have to conclude. So what I'm saying is that if we want to have any peace on this beautiful planet Earth in future, if we want to live a nice life, if we want to have peace and prosperity, which what is all of us want, we want to have nice living, we want to have jobs, kids go to school, that system works normally. We don't need wars. This is a normal person doesn't want it. Average person doesn't like it. But if we want that, then we will have to question our political leaders also. Put the facts on the table and face let them face the reality, the facts. Problem is that political elites, like Douglas McGregor said for Washington, it's like political Washington political scene is like a fantasy island. These people are living in fantasies. They are not in a touch with people of America. Like American elites, political elites are not in touch with American people anymore. They live in their own fantasy island, and this is very dangerous. We should recognize this wherever we are. And remember, if you want to have peace in personal life, in relationship, any kind, you always have to understand what the other side also. It's not just you and your opinion. There is also a other side opinion and necessity and consideration. Okay, I just say, you know, don't get swept by this political media narrative. Think with your own head. That's why you have it. Okay, all best. God bless.